Hello Internet, it's Alex from Barefaced here, and I'm going to try to attempt to explain our range of guitar cabs. So life is a bit easier for you guys who are trying to work out what we do and what will suit you. So, no expense spared. I have got this excellent computer simulation with these hyper-real illustrations of what our products look like. We have quite a lot of different guitar cabs available. Now, this is me explaining the cabinets. I've done a previous video explaining the speakers. I will do a subsequent video explaining the speakers within them a bit more. I'll also do another video about some of the other variations upon the cabinets that we can do. And also, there's all the other sort of cosmetic customization that's available. And some other little details, but we shall save them for later. Here we have the range going from big to large. So this is the one we sell the most of. This is the Reformer 112. It's a fantastic single 12-inch cab available with lots of different 12-inch Celestion speakers from us, or we sell them unloaded to people who have their own specific driver they want to put in, and if your driver doesn't fit with Celestion hole spacings and baffle hole cutouts, we will custom machine baffles and do adjustments like that for you. So whatever you have, we can make it fit in one of these. It's not the cheapest way of doing things. It's cheaper having one of our speakers within it, or one of Celestion speakers of ours within it. However, we also have some variations upon the Reformer 112. So this cab is 18 inches wide, 450 millimeters wide. I think most of you would agree with me that you generally want your cab to be the same width or wider than your amp head because it looks good. You've got a bit of leeway in that an amp head can be a bit wider than the cab and both look fine and the feet still sit on the cab. So 18 inches, 450 mm wide. If your head is wider than that, we have this 12-inch model, which initially we called the Reformer 112W, and then we realised it made more sense to name them by the enclosure. So this is the Usurper 112W. It's the same size as our 2x10 cab, exact same size, but with a 12-inch speaker in. It's 24 inches wide, 610 mm wide. So obviously that takes much wider heads than the Reformer 112 at 18 inches wide. It's slightly larger in internal volume, so that increases the compliance of the air pushing back against the speaker, so you get slightly bigger lows, slightly deeper tuning, so it extends the lows a bit further, but it's not a massive tonal difference. A lot of guitarists won't even notice the lows being a bit bigger because it's in a realm where their guitar sound doesn't do a lot. So Reformer 112, Usurper 112W for wide. If you want to go really big in terms of width, so say you need to fit it underneath a full-size Marshall type head, we also have this super oversized, so the super wide 1x12, which is the Radical 112 SW. That is in the same enclosure as our Radical 212H, so that's a 2x12 cab, but you can also have it as a 1x12 cab. It's not much cheaper than the 2x12, but it is lighter and it is quieter, which can be an important thing if you want to be able to push a big head reasonably hard without making it too loud in your band, or even a smaller head, but you're wanting to push things hard, but you've got a head that needs this size. So this is 29 inches wide, 740 mm wide, so it's a big cab. I'm pointing at something you can't see. Anyway, it's the same size as one of those on its side. So Reformer 112, Usurper 112W, and Radical 112 SW. Again, this is larger internal volume, so you get bigger lows, and it's slightly lower tuned, so the lows go deeper. Now, 10-inch cabs, we have the Upsetter 110, which is our standard 1x10 cab. But again, as before, if you want something wider, so you like the 10-inch sound, you don't need the output of a 2x10, then you can step up to the Reformer 110W, so that's the Reformer enclosure, but with a 10-inch speaker in. So the Upsetter 110 is 15 inches wide, 380 mm. The Reformer 110W, as with the other Reformers, 18 inches wide, 450 mm. Then we have Usurper 210 for people who want that 10-inch sound but need more output than a single 10 can do. And we've also got the Radical 212H, so that's a horizontal 2x12, so that's to give you a bigger sound and more output than a 112. And we also, if you'd rather have a vertical 2x12, we have the Uprising 212V. Now the Uprising 212V, that's 19 inches wide, 480mm wide. So if you've got a big head, amp head I should say, that's wider than that, I'd recommend you go for a Radical 212H, because then that will support the big head and look cool. However, the Radical 212H does sound different to the Uprising 212V. There's more difference between them than there is in just the sort of shape, the format. There is other stuff going on, so this has a different approach. This has one AVD behind this speaker, it has a supplementary port to lower the tuning frequency, sorry, to raise the tuning frequency to where we want it, whilst this has a double height AVD behind both speakers, so they're both producing rearwards mid and high output, and the tuning frequency is different. So they do sound different to each other, I'd say. This one is thicker and fatter sounding. This is more open, brighter maybe? No, certainly there's more mids out there in the room. So yeah, Upsetter 110, Usurper 210, so there are 10-inch choices, or the Reformer 110W, and then 12-inch choices, you've got the Reformer 112, Usurper 112W, Radical 212H, Radical 112 SW, super wide, Uprising 212V, hopefully this is high enough resolution that you can see the width that I've already mentioned, and a new one that we're going to introduce. This is the Upsizing, Uprising, Upsizing. Upsizing, which is 24 inches wide, 610mm wide, so it's the same width as the Usurper 210 and the Usurper 112W, but the height of the Uprising 212V. Now the logic behind this particular model is that there are people out there who want a vertical 2x12, but their head is too wide to look good or even fit on top of the Uprising 212V. So I thought, well, we'll do a bigger version of it. This width makes sense. There is no point us making a vertical 2x12 that is the width of a Radical, because then you end up with a 2x12 that's the same size as a 4x12, and at that point you're better off actually, if you really want something that big, stacking two Radical 112 SWs, because often you won't need the output of both of them. So unless someone really, really wants one, then we're not going to make a 212 that's 412 size. But I realised with the Upsizing, once we've gone to that extra width, that actually then means we can fit a 15 in it. So if you want, we can do you a guitar cab that has two 12s in, or a 12 and a 15, or two 15s, if you really want to have some thick, deep, fat, thunderous guitar tones sort of chug away underneath everyone. So I think that covers all the options. So that is the sizes, the widths I've talked about. I've not really talked about the heights, but you know, it's all on the website. And these are all available now. We haven't made one of these yet, but the current state of the order queue means that if you were to order one by the time yours is due to be cut, we'd have one ready to go. But if you're watching this in the future, then we may have already made one. There may be one out there. You may be able to look on our social media or website and see it. On our website, if you are looking at any of the wider variants of these cabs, they'll be available on the product page for the sort of parent cab. So Usurper 210 is on there, but you can also choose the Usurper 112W on the Usurper 210 page, and likewise Reformer 112's on there, you can choose the Reformer 110W. Radical 212H is there, you could also choose the Radical 112 SW. So that's the width, the configurations available, and hopefully that has explained things better. In terms of stock speakers, I think less than half of the cabs we sell go out there with our standard speakers in them. I'll just quickly explain what we have. In the 10-inch cabs, standard is the G10 Vintage, and in the 12-inch cabs, the standard is the Vintage 30. And you can choose your impedance, and in the 2-speaker cabs, you can choose your wiring as well to determine the impedance, so series or parallel wiring as well. So that's all as options on the website. But yeah, more than half the cabs we sell have different speakers in them, but that is for another video. I will sign off now. Please let me know if that has been useful or it has been confusing. Ask me questions. Like and subscribe, and Merry Christmas, and thank you for your opinions, whether or not I agree with them. Goodbye.